Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so today we're diving into what is honestly a massive paradigm shift. You know how for years we've basically treated energy storage as just a sidekick? Like a helpful little add-on to solar panels or wind turbines? Well, as of mid-2026, the data paints a vastly different picture. Batteries are absolutely no longer just supplementary. They are literally the new bedrock of the global power grid. So we're going to unpack exactly how we got here and what it actually means for everyone, from massive utility companies all the way down to the electricity flowing into your very own living room. To cut through all the hype, we'll break this explainer down into four key areas: the scale of current deployment, the engine, meaning the chemistries driving this growth, the economics making it all possible, and finally, the application of these systems out in the real world.
All right, let's start with part one, the scale. We really need to anchor ourselves in the sheer size this industry achieved by mid-May 2026.
So check this out. In 2025, the industry completely shattered expectations. We're talking a record 112 gigawatts of annual installations. To really put that into perspective for you, energy storage is scaling significantly faster than solar and wind ever did during their early boom years. No joke, we are witnessing a deployment curve that's fundamentally rewriting how the entire globe plans its power systems. I mean, think about how long it actually took for solar to become a common sight on rooftops, or for wind turbines to dot the landscape. Battery storage is just blitzing past those historical timelines, going from small pilot projects to foundational global infrastructure almost overnight.
Now, before we go any further, we absolutely have to clarify our metrics here, because the industry often mixes these up. GW, or gigawatts, is power capacity, so how much electricity a battery can discharge at any single moment. GWH, or gigawatt hours, is the total energy capacity, how much it can actually hold over time. So while we hit 112 gigawatts of power, our total energy bank hit a staggering 307 GWH. To visualize it, it's kind of like, think of gigawatts as the size of a water pipe and gigawatt hours as the size of the water tank itself. Keeping both of these metrics in mind is super essential for truly grasping the massive volume of energy we can now bank on a global scale.
Okay, moving right along to part two, the engine. Let's look at the specific battery chemistries driving this massive scale, because the market has clearly chosen a favorite.
Based on IEA analysis, lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, is the undisputed backbone of this revolution. It now accounts for over 90% of annual stationary battery storage additions, 90%. It has overwhelmingly become the global standard, just completely dominating alternative chemistries for large-scale grid systems. We really aren't looking at some fragmented market where a dozen different chemical formulas are duking it out. When it comes to laying down the bedrock of the modern grid, LFP has clearly won the race.
But you know, the future isn't entirely LFP. While LFP absolutely dominates stationary uses and mass-market cars, high-nickel chemistries like NMC and NCA, which pack way more energy into much lighter spaces, they remain strategically vital. Like if you're building premium performance EVs or looking at electric aviation, you absolutely rely on that lower weight and higher range. It's a strategic split, really. Different chemistries win where they fit best. You wouldn't use a heavy freight train engine in a sports car, right? And you wouldn't use a highly sensitive sports car engine to haul freight. The market has neatly bifurcated to match the chemistry with the specific job.
So why exactly is LFP winning the infrastructure race? Well, it comes down to superior safety and an incredibly long cycle life, reaching upwards of 10,000 cycles. Think about that for a second. If you fully cycle a battery once a day, every single day, 10,000 cycles is over 27 years of continuous use. That is wild. When you're building a foundational grid layer, you don't need a lightweight battery. You need a predictable, decades-long lifespan. Utilities literally map out their infrastructure plans in quarter-century blocks. Now, they finally have a battery chemistry that can comfortably sit on the grid and reliably do its job for that entire duration.
And that reliability, it translates directly into massive regional investments. Take Europe, for instance. According to Intel Market Research, the European LFP market alone is projected to hit $5.43 billion this year. This local economic boom is driven by LFP basically doing double duty. It's anchoring both mass-market EVs and these massive grid storage systems. Because the technology is so stable and so scalable, huge amounts of capital are just flowing in to secure the manufacturing base. Which brings us right into part three, the economics. Because let's be real, a technology only reaches the 100 gigawatt scale when the financial equation makes undeniable sense.
Right now, utility-scale battery costs under favorable conditions are approaching roughly $80 to $100 per kilowatt hour. This is a monumental threshold. Why? because it's the exact tipping point where batteries become cheaper than firing up traditional fossil fuel peaker plants. For decades, whenever electricity demand spiked, utilities had to rely on really expensive polluting gas plants. Now, driven by record low cell prices, storage has officially transformed from an expensive pilot project into standard, cost-saving utility procurement. It is literally cheaper to store energy and deploy it than it is to burn fuel on demand.
As recent industry analysis puts it, and I love this quote, the maturity of the storage industry is decoupling from upstream volatility. In plain English, battery production is now so massive that it's insulated from normal supply chain shocks. It's become a must-have piece of infrastructure. And not just for the green transition either. It's absolutely crucial to support the massive electricity surges required by the booming AI data center market. These AI hubs consume just staggering amounts of power, and they require absolute grid stability. This insatiable demand basically means battery manufacturing is going to continue to scale rapidly, regardless of any broader economic turbulence.
Finally, let's dive into part 4, the application. We need to examine how these systems are actually being used to solve real-world problems. Because honestly, if you still think of batteries simply as a box to store solar power for nighttime, it's time to drastically update that perspective.
Storage today is an active, multi-tool infrastructure layer. Modern systems are out there regulating grid frequency millisecond by millisecond, ensuring power quality never wavers. They shave off peak demand so the grid doesn't crash during those intense summer heat waves. Utilities are even using them to defer transmission, which basically means they strategically deploy batteries instead of building expensive, ugly new power lines. Add in EV charging optimization, and you've got a technology that is actively directing the flow of electricity everywhere, constantly keeping the whole grid in perfect balance.
And this revolution extends right into your own home. By 2026, home energy storage fully transitioned from a niche luxury to a mainstream necessity. Thanks to those plummeting LSP prices we talked about, smart home systems are now functioning as flexible power hubs. Using AI, they seamlessly balance your rooftop solar, your heat pump, and your EV charger. It ensures you keep the lights on during an outage while simultaneously providing vital resilience to the broader grid. Essentially, your home is now an active, highly intelligent participant in this whole 100-gigawatt era.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought about where we're heading. We know storage is the new foundation. We know LFP dominates the volume. But as that dominance grows, will high-nickel chemistries be permanently relegated to just the premium long-range niche? Or are we on the verge of a new breakthrough that will shake up grid infrastructure all over again? It's a massive question, and it's one that will absolutely define the next decade of electrification. Thanks so much for joining me to unpack this fascinating shift.